Hello, Internet. Can we talk for a minute? Well, I'm going to talk anyway, so you just have to get over it. Well, no, I guess you wouldn't have to get over it because you could just turn this off, right? There's nothing keeping you here. Fine, go leave. I'm going to keep talking anyway, and I'm going to upload the video. So someone's going to watch it start to finish. So even if you stop now, too late, someone else has already watched it. Chances are, unless you're the first person watches it and then you turn it off. But then I would think that the first person watching it is getting an alert and wants to see my stuff and is going to keep watching. So anywho, what are we going to talk about? Well, you ever do a deal with the devil? I swear Raja over at Fidget HQ had to have sold his soul because he is just doing some sort of witchcraft, wizardry, warlock, soothsaying, oracle, shaman type stuff going on over there. I don't know what it is where he's doing tungsten. The way he's doing tungsten. But he is doing tungsten. And when I say he's doing tungsten, like, he's not just like, oh, here's this tungsten spinner. He's getting fantastic prices at amazing finishes on his tungsten. What do we got next? Well, we got the Proxima Try from Fidget HQ. Certificate of Authenticity. Should we set that right there? I kind of like the card of authenticity, but that's like a really snazzy little card. Nice, good card stock. It just like, nice, unique shape. Kind of feels good. Just leave that like there, right? That looks good. That looks real good. On my new Carver's Custom mat. Hopefully the video came out really nice in the last one. I think it did. It looked good to me. So you would have seen it whenever I uploaded it. I'm not going to try and play that game with the... oh, nice pouch. We just jumped right in there. Let's do that again. I'm not going to try and play that game where, like, I'm not sure what day this is going to go up and try to call it as it comes out because of the way I've been uploading content lately. It's been sporadic the last week or so, so I've kind of missed a bunch of days. Not that I was necessarily hitting every day of the week, but Fidget HQ, great pouches. Love these pouches. These are just, like, the best pouches going, so. Well, maybe second best pouches going. But they're really nice pouches. I mean, they're like the best pouches that like spinners actually ship in my opinion. Like that, it's got a nice feel. They're not too large, right? So like even with these smaller spinners, but there's enough room where if you need to like fold it over or something like that, it goes pretty discreet. Feels nice. Feels good. So, Fidget HQ. Right there. Starting to get a little busy in here. All right. Proxima. So let's take a look at this thing. So this is tungsten. Shall we just weigh it? Get the formalities out of the way. And let's just wait. Let's get the rest of them going here, and we'll kind of get it in the we'll get it in reference with their other tungsten here. So first they came out with the Quasar in tungsten, 105 grams. That's 3.7 ounces for those playing at home. Then they came out with the Zen Tri Nano in tungsten, 121 grams, 4.3 ounces for those keeping score at home. Then they came out with, hold on to your expletives here. My camera screen just dimmed a little, that's why I confused and I had to touch the screen. 5.7 ounces, hold on to your butts. We're gonna, boy, I can't wait till we start doing some, anyway. And then, I don't want to say back down to earth a little bit. Again, 122.9, 123, so basically 4.3 ounces, right? Very close to what we were looking at with this guy, right? So very similar weight to this guy, but very, very different feel. So maybe it's worth just highlighting here for a second. Is that going to mess up? There we go. Hold on, Internet. We're having some focusing problems. Tell you what, we're gonna cut this real quick because I think my video just did something weird and I don't want to lose it. So, all right, still with me? Yeah, it was just I think my phone's getting a little hot, so it's it just dimmed the screen a little. I can't turn the brightness up, but that's just for me. For you guys, it's fine. It won't affect the recording. What I was saying is, size-wise, they're very different in terms of size and shape and ergonomics. A lot thinner. but kind of wider arms, bigger. So overall, so about the same weight, but very, very different feel. So maybe we'll compare these two a little bit in here. But these were all in the $130 range. This was $100, 97, I think. And then these were all right around 130 in tungsten, which is like ridiculous, which is like unheard of. So, but let's take a look at the finish on this guy, which is what I would think I was starting to come in close and take a look at. So when he originally came out with this, I think he was calling this the Quasar version 2 or something like that, like a new version of the Quasar. Because you can definitely see some, you know, when you look at these arms, some design takes from this. But they ended up going with calling it the Proxima and just kind of making it its own thing because it was kind of different enough, and to be honest, looks and feels different enough too. So, but the finish on this guy is fantastic. So you see right here, it almost looks like there's little nicks, but it's just the steps in the machining. Right, you see that? So it just steps down as it kind of goes around. You can kind of see those steps in the sides a little bit there too. But the finish on this is really, really nice. Really, really smooth finish. Breathe it in. And it's a really interesting shape. When it first kind of came out, I haven't done it with a lot of spinners, but there was something about the shape and the swoops on this guy that really had me break down the geometrics of this shape. So essentially what you've got is you've got two triangles. So if you look at this, this is just a triangle, right? It's just a straight line all the way down, and then they just chop the edges off, and then they put the same bevel everywhere. So it's the same outward bevel all the way across to, you know, probably, what would you say that is, 30 degrees? Something like that, a 30-degree angle between here to here, something like that. And then you just put a swoop on the inside. Right, you just lop the tips of the triangle off and you put this one little swoop. So it's a pretty simple design, like from a geometric standpoint, you know, compared to, you know, some of the other crazy stuff we got going on. Even something like this, you know, there's a little bit more going on to it with some of the curves and stuff. Anything, I don't know. Anyway, it just really intrigued me, the shape of this guy. I really enjoyed. So, yeah. So fidgeting wise, let's talk about that. Let's get into that, shall we? So fidgeting wise, this thing is kind of interesting. I don't know what it is about it, but again, he's doing some sort of magic over there. This does not feel like 120 grams of spinner. Like, it just fidgets really well. Look at that. I can interrupt spins. I can stop it. I can start it. It just, and maybe it's just I'm getting too used to the tungsten. We're getting spoiled over there, and then everything else is it's just like feels like aluminum. But it really is just like a really fantastic, sweet little spinner. These swoops work so well for getting your finger in. Now there isn't a finger groove, like a deep indented groove like you would find on like a Talisman or like a Wusaw, but like it's still, because it's one steady constant swoop, no matter where your finger catches it, it's enough to pull it out, to flick it, to pull it back in. That kind of sounded dirty. These angles along the tops and on the sides allow for really good preloaded flicks. Like, you get plenty of grip off those chamfers there. And they're really generous. They're really smooth. I should say something with this one as well. And I don't know if he's always using the same like machinist or same, you know, I don't know, the company or wherever he's getting this stuff fabricated. But unlike this one, which this isn't a negative on this one, but on this one, these edges were very acute. This one, everything's got a very slight rounding to it. Like, see the way the light comes off those angles? They're not quite as sharp. And I don't think they were an issue on this one. But like, it just has this really refined finish. Like, I don't know if he's just putting so much work to those guys. They're getting used to figuring out and tweaking how they work in tungsten. I don't know. I don't know what the magic is, but yeah, so it's got a really nice rounding on everything, which means not a hot spot to be found anywhere on this guy. This thing's super comfortable for all day fidgeting. So let's talk about the buttons, because these are kind of new buttons for Fidget HQ. So they've got essentially what it is a flat and then a flat dish in, or I guess maybe you wouldn't even call it a dish because it doesn't like swoop at the bottom, and then a flat. It almost looks like it comes back up, but it's just another flat. So it's flat, and then has sort of like the little point in the middle that pretty much all their buttons have, you know, balancing on a pen tip and stuff like that. So And then let's pop the buttons off. So here's something kind of sweet. So this is the first offering we've seen from Fidget HQ with like a true press fit or like cemented glued in bearing. So because they kind of designed this from the ground up, what you have is you don't have something that's kind of been converted, you know, so like this is a good example, right? This has a cemented bearing, but you can see it's tapered out to maintain, and we'll get that button later, to maintain the same, you know, shape that this guy had when it had that vertical press style bearing in there. Oh yeah, I lost the button. Well, we'll put it there. We can still spin it. So this is like a real true style press fit, which means other press fit style bearing buttons will work on here. You know, so something like a set of Kraken buttons. As long as they're, I think they need to be 23 millimeters. I think is what the max is. That looks kind of, there's some juxtaposition for you, internet. Hobby Timmy's word of the year, juxtaposition. You know what else we're gonna throw on here? Because we can. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera, y'all. I'm sorry. Ba-ba-da-ba. Because we can. I don't know what it is about these zero feud buttons in superconductor that just really like are, I don't know, there's something about them in tungsten. They're just like great buttons. And just superconductor in general, I don't know what it is about being on tungsten is good, but so you can really mix up the button game on this. Now I've got to be honest. Oh, and also the underneath of these buttons is designed to have, I don't know exactly how it goes. I'll know when I get my tungsten buttons, but it's set to have spacers basically so that you can have use this on like traditional style bearings. So it's not, it's our vertical press style. So you can kind of use spacers in there. So, but anyway, so I've seen a lot of people say nice things about this. For me, they're nice buttons and all, don't get me wrong, but they're not the same as like the Kong style buttons. The buttons that they have going on is, they don't need to like reinvent the wheel in my opinion with these buttons. So they're cool, they're unique. There isn't really much else out there like them, but for me, it's like something like these full-size Kongs are where it's at. Now these are a little taller, so I do like, I think because it can handle a thinner button, but I don't know, these Kong buttons are just so good. I just love the gentle dish that they have on their other buttons where I don't feel the need to have like this is a flatter style button. So if this could still swoop in but be this short, I think that would be the perfect button for this guy. So anyway, did I talk about spin time on this guy? I don't think I did, and I'll be honest, internet, I don't have the best spin time answers for you with this guy. I got about 6.5 minutes on a table spin and right around 12 minutes on a vertical spin, but I haven't really done like a thorough cleaning and really just like, let me sit down and do spin time on this guy, which for tungsten is probably a bit of a shame. But tungsten in general, I find pretty consistent results across the board on almost no matter what I do, where I almost always get somewhere in the neighborhood, topping out at about 8.5 to 9.5 minutes, maybe pushing 10 minutes on a table spin, and then right around 14.5 minutes seems to be about the peak I get on vertical spins. So, I don't know, maybe I'm full of an internet. Putting these buttons back on, and especially doing a 2-finger grip like this because they are a little larger, these actually are pretty good buttons. So, maybe it's a little rose tinted glasses. I was just looking back on these and thinking about how sweet their Kong buttons are. But these are pretty sweet buttons. I can't lie. I'm a little full of myself, but I'm also willing. I'm comfortable enough calling myself on my own BS. So we'll call ourselves on that because it's yeah, it's really good. Two-handed flicks on this guy in particular are what I'm really loving. Listen to it. Tungsten. Tungsten's got a certain sound to it too, just like brass in most cases. There's a certain, and maybe it's just also like the bearing just like under the strain, just like, for the love of God, please stop spinning. Like just the bearing just like screaming out. Because it's, you know, there's some tension, or not some tension, some forces at work there. There's some physics in play, so. Yeah, fantastic little spinner. So how does Hobby Timmy recommend it? You would be surprised to hear that I'm going to give it a 1.5 thumbs up. What? what? You've just been waxing lyrically and poetically about how good it is, and why is it just a 1.5? Well, for me, I don't think it's the best one that they've done. So I kind of, that's kind of where it's at. So for me, the order in these guys is this guy, no question, number 1. On any given day, these two could probably switch around a little bit. But this is number 2. There's something with the weight and the much more angular arms. I can get more grip. I can get more purchase. It doesn't need to be larger. Where with this one, sometimes it just feels like I don't have as much control over the spin as I do with something like this. Visually, I like the look of this more. Fidgeting wise, I like the look of this more. So, and then this one is just is far and away a winner. This one is crazy. So. This one is like some others. This is like next level magic. So, but there you have it. I almost forgot, like I had a 4-minute video where I stopped this. So this 11.5 minutes is closer to a 16-minute video. So, but I've been gone for a while. You guys, I think, enjoy me rambling. So I'm not sure what else there is to say on this guy. Just really, really good. Real good. Oh, did we check the balance? Tungsten is known, right, for having density pockets. But look at the balance on this. And with this in particular, I think he worked out something. I don't know enough about tungsten alloys. But he worked out something like some deal where he's getting like 97% tungsten, which I think most of the time when you find tungsten, like a high-end tungsten, it's like, I want to say 95%. And when you're talking metals and alloys, 2% difference in material is pretty huge. When you're talking like stainless steel, you're talking like fractions of percentages where they're adding things like chromium and other stuff like that. So having like a couple percentage difference is pretty ridiculous. You know what I haven't really done? Let's do this live, internet. Since we're here and I haven't done enough content, and I kind of feel bad about it. Because these are very similar in weight. This actually feels a lot heavier with the, I think it's actually about 10, 11 grams heavier plus the buttons, so. Yeah, see, this reminds me more of the Zen Tri Nano, just the arms, being that they're a little more angular, lets you really get in there and pull it because it's tungsten, right? But also, it's not as, you can't interrupt it the same way. It feels like it wants to whack you a little bit, where you don't get that with this. But because it's tungsten, right, there's more mass. There's more mass, see? There's more mass, and, so to really get the leverage going, getting preloaded flicks on the outside is fine, but getting in there and trying to do these kind of flicks versus doing them on something like this where you really can get more leverage because that's just like a tab to pull on versus this is a swoop, which again, it still works fine for fidgeting, right? Your fingers aren't slipping off and missing it. But for really hard and fast fidgeting, it just feels a little more responsive with something like that. So anywho, there you have it. The Proxima by Fidget HQ. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you know what? I gotta step back and be real with y'all for a second. 2 thumbs up, because the reality is, if you find the opportunity to get this, get it. Like, that's the reality. If you had to choose between these two, this all day. But the chances are you're not going to have to choose between these two. You got to really look out for the pre-orders and pick them up, or someone that's foolish enough to sell this on the secondary. It looks like he's going to be doing more runs of these again, so I think look out for this in January. And then sometimes he has little drops of leftovers. He probably has to order a couple extra just in case there's finishing issues, and then can sell those in drops. But they usually go quick, so get on the Spin City Fidget HQ Facebook group page. And pay attention to all that sort of stuff. So anyway, internet, that's going to do it for me. We out. Proxima, Fidget HQ. Kisses, y'all.